That's too close to home. That's way too close to home.
Tonight, neighbors are reeling after one young woman was killed and her sister seriously hurt after a shooting. We'll tell you what investigators know about the suspect.
We got up in the morning and we heard things falling.
And later, we're learning more about a shift in the ground in a West Eugene neighborhood, how neighbors are feeling coming up.
It's been another rainy and windy day, but calmer conditions just on the horizon. We'll break it all down as KEZI 9 News 11 starts right now.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News at 11.
That night was a nightmare. And you never know. Something can happen to anybody else around here.
Tonight, the suspect in a deadly Corvallis shooting, which killed one sister and injured another, is waiting to be returned to Oregon. Corvallis police say Jerry Mitchell was arrested near the Oregon-California border. Thanks for staying up late with us tonight. I'm Ariel Yacobazi. They say he fatally shot his girlfriend over the weekend, then shot the woman's sister. And here's what we know so far. Just before 7:30 on Saturday night, Corvallis police say they responded to reports of gunfire in the 1900 block of Highland Drive, Northwest Highland Drive, that is. They say they found 34-year-old Vanetta Johnson dead in the kitchen, and they also found 24-year-old Ciara Page, Johnson's sister, lying on the floor. Both women were shot. Detectives say an ongoing argument between Johnson and her boyfriend led him to shooting Johnson in the head and Ciara Page right after. Detectives say with the help of Page's description and tracking technology, they were able to track Mitchell Sr. traveling south near Medford around 11 p.m. A temporary warrant was issued, leading to his arrest just after midnight down near Wairika, California.
All I seen was the police coming down the road, like major. There was a bunch of them, more than just two. The ambulance and the fire department, and I wasn't sure what was going on.
I thought that the emergency responders did an excellent job. They really were calm and collected.
An arrest warrant for Jerry Mitchell Sr. has been filed with the Benton County Circuit Court, and he's facing charges of murder, attempted murder, unlawful use of a weapon, and felon in possession of a weapon. We'll let you know when Mitchell will be extradited back to Benton County. In other news, we're getting new images used in the FBI investigation into a Eugene man charged with federal hate crimes in connection with 4 instances of anti-Semitic vandalism at a Eugene synagogue. Investigators say these images show Adam Braun, the suspect, armed with a hammer, about to break glass doors at Temple Beth Israel on East 29th Street in Eugene. You can see that Braun looks directly at the camera. Now, detectives say after spotting the cameras, Braun did not go through with smashing the doors, but investigators do say Braun included anti-Semitic symbols and phrases in graffiti that he used to deface the temple on 4 separate occasions between August of last year and January of this year. Braun made his first federal court appearance last week and remains in federal custody until his next court hearing. The Coos County Sheriff's Office arrested a woman last week after she allegedly threatened a deputy with a knife. Authorities say they got a call where a woman was incoherently making threats around 4:30 in the morning last Tuesday. While the deputy headed to the Seaport RV Park in Charleston, he was told it sounded like the woman was threatening a dog. When he located 47-year-old Victoria Ramsey, she allegedly told the deputy she was going to stab him and sick her dog on him. After tasing her and asking her to drop the knife, the deputy managed to take her into custody. Ramsey is facing charges for menacing, unlawful use of a weapon, and resisting arrest. And Eugene police caught an elusive burglary and theft suspect last week after they say he made the investigation difficult by changing the license plates on his getaway vehicle. They arrested 37-year-old James Wilkins of Springfield with the help of Springfield and Albany police in connection to a string of burglaries, thefts, and vehicle thefts last week. He worked at a local auto shop and was suspected of stealing customers' vehicles. Now, the investigation is ongoing and more charges could be added, but as of today, Wilkins is charged of 12 counts of second-degree burglary, 6 counts of first-degree theft, among multiple others. And 2 people are in the Douglas County Jail tonight after police say they kidnapped and robbed someone in Grants Pass. Roseburg police say the victim called them sometime before 3 in the morning on Saturday to report he was being held at gunpoint by the 2 suspects. He told them he was zip-tied in the back of his own vehicle while they stole several $1,000s from him. Officers located and arrested the suspects at the Motel 6 on Northwest Aviation Drive in Roseburg.
Now, your Storm Tracker 9 First Alert Forecast with meteorologist Holden LaCroix.
So we're on about, it feels like day 4, 5 now of rainy conditions back to back thanks to these cold fronts kind of marching into the northwest. So eventually this is going to pull out and we are going to see some drier conditions kind of moving in by the second half of the week. But at least for tonight through tomorrow morning, we are expecting more of that heavier rainfall kind of in waves. Scattered activity as the main cold front marches in, but eventually toward Wednesday and Thursday, we are tracking much drier and calmer conditions as this area of low pressure kind of pulls inland. So again, over the next 24 hours, we're going to have the rain at times, but also the gusty winds when the rain starts to break up tomorrow afternoon. And occasionally we could have gusts near 40 miles per hour out toward the Oregon coast and even 30, 35 mile per hour inland. Now, in the meantime, that rain is going to continue overnight tonight, but the calmer, drier conditions are just on the horizon, and they do look like they're going to start settling in by the second half of the week, with the possibility of 70 degrees. So at least timing things out through the course of tonight, we are expecting that scattered activity to kind of ramp up towards morning hours. You can see heavy snow up against the Cascades, but the big story, Ariel, is going to be the drier conditions just on the horizon. And we'll take a closer look at how long it's going to last coming up.
In our traffic alert crew's months-long project tonight to replace a long stretch of a water main in Roseburg. The southbound lane of Northeast Stevens Street from Isabel Avenue to Newton Creek Road will be closed weeknights from 7 p.m. through 7 in the morning until sometime in September. Now, you should keep an eye out for flaggers directing people through or around the construction. 4,100 feet of water transmission pipe will be replaced as part of a larger effort to replace water infrastructure primarily on Stevens Street. Well, questions remain tonight about the integrity of a hill in a West Eugene neighborhood after part of a home's foundation started sliding down the hill into homes below. That home has been put under an evacuation order and several others were under a voluntary evacuation notice. Steep is an understatement for this area of West Eugene that's overlooking the city.
We walked up above the wall and the soil was just like sinking in, you know, you could hear it. It was like sand, you know, going through an hourglass. But you could just hear all the bricks falling and you could hear things cracking, and the wall is cracked in half in about the center of the wall.
The site of the ground movement has since become a small tourist spot, with news of the incident bringing back former residents to the area.
You immediately just feel for the residents, the homeowners, that their safe place is now all of a sudden not as safe as we all hope our homes are going to be.
Now, KEZI 9 News was able to get in contact with the American Red Cross, and they say anyone facing displacement from the incident is encouraged to call 1-800-RED-CROSS for that help. And tonight, we're learning more about an avalanche forecaster killed in a snowslide in eastern Oregon last week. His name was Nick Burks. The Baker County Sheriff's Office says this happened last Wednesday near Anthony Lakes Mountain Resort. That's where Burks and his friends were backcountry skiing. An investigation found the friends skied down first and was watching Burks make his way down when the avalanche happened. A group of people who were staying at the lodge nearby saw this and called for help. They ran to Burks and started CPR, but he didn't make it. His friend was not injured. Both men had the proper avalanche airbags and beacons. Burks was just 37. A couple of men in Crestwell are looking to give the homeless somewhere to live by revamping a design that looks like wagons used on the Oregon Trail. This is a Conestoga hut, which looks similar to the wagons used to travel way back in the 1700s and 1800s. Bill Kent and Ed Gunderson say they began drafting housing prototypes because the Crestwell community doesn't have a dedicated space, park, or place where they can put up a structure. So people are either living in vehicles or tents with strict rules. Tents can't be put up before 10 at night and must be down by 7 in the morning. They also have to be on the move every 3 days, which is part of why they're making the huts mobile.
The idea is to construct maybe 5 or 6 of them because that would handle the homeless population we have in town here. And they would at least have some warmth, some dryness, and a place where they could actually put their stuff and not have it stolen while they're in town.
Now, Bill actually slept in the hut for a night to see how well it worked, how comfortable it was, and to identify areas it could be improved. If you'd like to help fund the project, you can find more information on our website, KEZI.com. A popular campground on the coast is closed while it undergoes some maintenance and repairs. Horsefall, a campground near North Bend, will be closed through Thursday. Northwest Youth Corps crew members are replacing fire rings, repairing picnic tables, and fixing the fences. Money to pay for it all comes from the Legacy Restoration Fund and the Great American Outdoors Act. In other news, if you've been worried about the steadily climbing gas rates over the past few months, AAA says you shouldn't, at least not yet. Gas prices always rise at this time of year as the demand for fuel goes up when winter comes to a close. It also means the end of a cheap winter fuel and the switch to more expensive summer fuel blends. That process is just getting started in most states. Now, the late winter jump in prices has been boosted by troubles at refineries after the extreme cold in January took some offline. And driving through Portland on Interstate 5 could look very different soon. That's because the U.S. Department of Transportation is awarding the city nearly $500 million towards a project to cover part of the highway. The money would essentially make part of I-5 into a tunnel. On top of that, space would be developable land. This would happen in the Albina neighborhood area, not too far from the Rose Quarter and Moda Center. City organizers say the larger vision would restore land and access to the district, which is a historically black neighborhood. Community leaders say the neighborhood was all but torn down during the Interstate 5 project back in the 60s and 70s. The covered section of I-5 would create roughly 8 acres of land, which could be used for city parks, affordable housing, and other businesses, but no word on when that plan would begin construction.